Minister of Digital Economy and Society, Dr. Pichet Durongkawerod, gives the keynote speech entitled Digital Disruption and Transformation under the seminar project of the Science, Information Technology and Mass Communication Committee of the National Legislative Assembly on October 10, 2018 at the Sukoson Hotel, Bangkok. The seminar has been organized as a platform for information exchange on the direction and trends of digital technologies in order to prepare for a possible impact from digital disruption, as well as to create an awareness in digital technology application in increasing organizational efficiency of the private sector and legislators. Dr. Pichet has mentioned the Minister of Digital Economy and Society's program focusing on the benefits of digital technologies to implement the Thailand 4.0 scheme. He said each program has been integrated among various sectors, including cooperation between the public and private sectors in order to raise the economic and social level of the country. On August 15, 2018, Office of the Public Sector Development Commission (OPDC) and Southeast Asia Center (SEAC) have jointly organized a training on leading innovation with design thinking in collaboration with Stanford Center for Professional Development (SCPD) of Stanford University. The event has been presided over by Ms. Ari Pen Jarunsuk, Deputy Secretary General of the Office of the Public Sector Development Commission. The training program has been held during August 15 to 16, 2018, aiming at creating knowledge and understanding about design and thinking for innovation. Topics include Outward Mindset by James R. Engel, Chief Learning Architect of SEAC, and Design Thinking by William Malek. Ms. Arinya Tharungsi, Managing Director of Southeast Asia Center (SEAC), has led a group of top executives from leading organizations in Thailand to participate in Leading in a Disruption World (LDW) Class 3 program in the United States. These executives are from major companies and organizations such as Advanced Info Service Public Company Limited, Siam Cement Public Company, Thai Namtip Company Limited, and Prince of Songkhla University. The LDW3 program is a collaboration between Southeast Asia Center (SEAC) and Stanford Center for Professional Development (SCPD) of Stanford University, which is well organized of its contribution to constructive change and organization success. Ms. Arinya said, the solution for organizations to stand tall in a disruptive world is to turn change into opportunity and make the best of that opportunity.
Show Thai to the world, a concept of Siam-style program to introduce you to well-known Thai role models. Ultimate amazing tourist attractions. Innovative Thai products. Let's proudly join Siam styles from 4 regions, 77 provinces across Thailand.
Sawadee welcome to Thailand Today program. Today, very especially that we are at the building of Southeast Asia Center, or calling in short is SEAC, to discuss with Ms. Arinya Tharungsi. She's the Managing Director of SEAC, which is all about all kind of disruptive. There are several kind of disruptive. So we get clarification from her because it's so essential, so important for any business looking to grow and stay ahead of the competition in what is now a digital first. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ
Welcome to Thailand Today program, right here, out here. Well, that's what I was mentioning to the audience that we talk about disruptive innovation. There's several things, and world is running so fast. You just go here and there, digital and all kind of thing. And I'm not the layperson. Please tell us about distinctive of the disruptive innovation, what do you call disrupting world. Tell us something about that, please.
So maybe I like to explain the differentiation between the definition of disruptive work and also disruptive innovation.
Yes, please.
What are the differences between these two? So basically, when we are talking about disruptive innovation, we really got to understand first that it's not the common process that a lot of the large organizations or well-established organizations have been practicing in the old days. It's a new innovation process that happened quite a while ago, starting 1995, from very small organizations. Disruptive innovation did not start from a large organization at all. The difference is that all these entrepreneurs felt that a lot of the innovation that had been happening in the past was only trying to serve the existing market, the existing clients. They would like to be able to come up with something that would be able to serve the unmet needs of the consumers. So basically the way they think would not be the same as all the big organizations have been practicing or thinking. So most of the large organization or well-established organization would be focusing on improving or creating a better services, a better product. But they have not been trying to look in terms of the angle of what was the unmet need of their consumers or their customers. So that's the first part about disruptive innovation. So disruptive innovation is a different process that we used to understand or we used to practice in the old days with a lot of the practices that was implementing in the large organization. But when we are talking about disruptive work is not the same. Disruptive work is the world where we live now that are not the same world that we used to know. Basically, we already understand that the technology already makes a difference and is still continuing to make a big difference for our life. So right now, you can connect to everyone anytime, anywhere. You are not living in the
isolated or something.
Old days that we used to use our phone to try to contact so many different people, and if we don't have the phone, it's going to be quite a while for us to be able to communicate to other people in the other part of the world. So basically, living in the disruptive world, you are experiencing different features and functions that the technology can offer. But at the same time, the behavior of the people who are living in the world now are not the same. If you were to look at, even you talk about the maids at our house, they are not the same. They are consuming a lot of the information from different sources every single day, and you cannot say that they know the same thing that the maids in the old day did know. They are much smarter. They know much more information than what those maids did know in the past. So then basically we really got to understand that we are not dealing with the same type of people that we used to deal with in the past. So these are the two differences for these two keywords about disruptive innovation and disruptive work.
when getting to bringing the disruptive innovation into the big conglomerate, like you said, some big companies, would they change it? They have to change it? Because you said they already set up and we're looking for the new growth. So how about the old ones? Because they are conglomerate, they're huge,
Right.
especially in Thailand. So for those companies, do they like to be changed
Actually,
together?
it's not only in Thailand. This
all
is
over
a
the world.
challenge all over the world. This is a challenge where a lot of the large organizations right now, they are not that much afraid of another large organizations. They are more afraid of startups, of young
really?
entrepreneur, of smaller organization. At this moment, it's not about a big fish is competing with another big fish. It's more about the big fish is really worried that what are all the small fishes are trying to compete them or trying to beat them. Look at the example like Airbnb. Look at Airbnb that they are disrupting many hotels, many
Exactly.
accommodations.
Exactly.
So basically, they are not a big hotel competing with another hotel.
A small
Yeah.
one big create a headache.
Exactly, exactly. So what you were asking me earlier that if a large organization got to implement the disruptive innovation within their organization, it's not going to be easy. They really have to start thinking about shifting and changing their mindset first. If they still think of the way to come up with the innovation like the way that they used to do in the past, what they could end up with, they would end up with an innovative products, an innovative of the existing products, and innovative of the existing services. So basically, they are not going to be able to come up with the disruptive innovation, which going to be something like Uber or Airbnb or Netflix. It's not going to happen that way because the way that we used to do things are very much different from the way that those entrepreneurs did do for the disruptive innovation process.
So about the growth, it's so important. It is so important. Why it is so important with the business growth of the young
Well, if you were to look at all those disruptive innovation that did come out in the past few years, they did acquire a large amount of the market. Look at Airbnb, look at Uber, look at Netflix, look at Facebook, look at Google, look at all these people. So basically, we already know that we cannot continue growing our organization the same way that we used to grow in the past. Because if we were to use the same approach, we are not going to be able to compete with all those entrepreneurs that do things differently.
Exactly.
And if we want to continue to grow, if we want to continue to maintain number one in the area that we are operating in, we got to think differently. We got to start implementing different process. We got to start to understand how we are going to be agile enough to be able to bring in the disruptive innovation process to introduce to our organizations.
In that case, they have to get trained. They have to get educated. There will be some of the people to be educated, right?
I would
To
say
go back,
that training
management training or something.
Training is required, but it's not the only thing. I would say that we have to start asking ourselves first whether we are ready to shift and change our mindset. And this is the challenge that we really have to understand that are we ready? Are we ready to be able to introduce two different processes to our organization? Let me just give you an example.
Okay.
For example, if you are talking about the normal innovation process that a lot of the large organizations have been putting in place for a while, you really try to understand what do you need to do more to add a better features, to add a better functions, to be able to add a different kind of services to existing customers with the existing products or with the existing services. So those kind of innovation would not require a lot of the same process that you are going to do if you were to implement disruptive innovation process. The difference is that when you are talking about disruptive innovation process, you really have to tell yourself that you know nothing about what you would do for the customers. You have no idea what would the products would look like. You have no idea what the services would look like. You would start with the beginner mindset, and that's very important. That's so hard for a lot of the leaders in a lot of the organizations in Thailand and also in many other countries around the world. So it's so hard for us to start with the beginner mindset to tell ourselves that we don't really know what the customers want anymore. We want to go out there and we want to understand what they do want. And we have to be able to really understand that there's a lot of things that we have been delivering in the past are not going to fit for their needs anymore.
Listening to Arinja, as managing director of SEAC, you feel like moving yourself up and you feel like really get trained for that. Now tell me, how Thailand, other countries I can understand because they are foreign and they are European, they're easy and have tendencies to change a lot. How about Thailand? How could they do to be prepared themselves for a bigger one, for the younger generation to do this for the disruptive
So how
world?
could we be
How could
prepared
we
for
preparing?
that?
Yes.
Okay. If I can separate into 2 points.
Yes.
One is preparing for those organizations that right now they're facing with the difficulty right now, and another is preparing for the younger generation.
Yes.
Because these are 2 different things,
Exactly.
right? Maybe I can answer to your point first, that how do we prepare younger generations? Basically, we cannot introduce the same things that they are taught at school now. Because when you are talking about disruptive innovation, you really have to ensure that these people don't get trained to be the subject matter expert. They have to be very agile. They have to be able to be curious, to really understand what's going on around them, what's changing around them. So basically all these kids got to learn how to ask questions rather than try to memorize what's on the book.
That's older days.
Yeah,
And then they don't have the guts to even rise up their own hands to ask questions.
Right. So then how do you ensure that all these kids would be curious enough to ask so many questions to the teachers, to the parents, to the societies, to the communities. So that's the very first skill that you really have to think about, that how can you coach them to ask questions. Second thing would be, how could you coach them and train them to be able to know how to collaborate with others.
Exactly.
In the future, you are not going to be a hero. Nobody is going to be a hero anymore. You have to collaborate with other people. You have to ensure that you learn how to work with others. You learn how to communicate with others. You learn how to get feedback from others. You learn how to give feedback to others. Collaboration is a key.
It's a key.
If you don't really know how to collaborate with other people, if you only know how to be able to read your books, prepare for exam, you are not going to survive in this world. So basically, the way that we teach our younger generation got to be different. So that's something that we really have to rethink and reframe how we are going to be able to provide a different approaches for all this younger generation to learn. But linking to the organization, right now they really have to be able to survive in the world that we are living now, and they really have to be able to come up with a new product solution, new service solution. They cannot be able to think about how to just update or improve their existing products and services anymore. They have to come up with a new business model. They have to come up with the new products portfolio, and they have to come up with something that they have never done before. So for them to do that, they have to be able to unlearn. They have to be able to accept that I don't know anymore what I'm going to do. So all the organizations now, they need to ask questions. They need to learn from the consumers. They need to spend time to really understand what's out there that they got to understand.
When you say about this, let me allow me to think of the one of the newly born company called a charitable company by younger generation, just to get charity for the people, for the society. You know, you can imagine younger generation can think of that much. So I think that we one of the person being trained here able to do that. Well, you take the second part. This is the first part you said. How about the big one? We talk about this younger generation to be learned. How about the old? You know, they are very that kind of stubbornness with the old type of business. So how do they change? How do you change them with the stubbornness that they are? I have to cling on to this particular work.
For me, I wouldn't say that those people are stubborn or they don't want to change. But I just think that for Thailand especially, we don't know how to learn. We know how to study. It's very different. Learning and studying are two different things. So basically, I really feel that we have to teach all these, I would say, all these adults, because we are not talking about the younger generation.
Exactly.
We have to teach all these adults how to learn how to learn, learn how to unlearn. So then basically, how are we going to be able to introduce them that, you know what, in the old days, you've been studying, you are reading a book, doesn't mean that you are learning anything.
Yes, yes.
You really have to be able to understand what learning is all about.
So what are the skills, competence that organization leaders need most in the disruptive world?
So for me, I would say that you got to be agile. And let me just explain that a little bit, that you know, agility is not easy and it's very difficult for all of us here. But for me, I really feel that Thai people can be very agile. Look at when we are facing with many different situations. You know, when we got
Political crisis, many
all the
things
crises that happening within the country, we could be agile enough to be able to get through all those difficult situations. But we don't practice that every day. We wait until there's crisis happening. Do we know how to be agile? I am sure we could practice that skill, but we have to be able to be aware that we don't need to wait until the organization is facing with difficult situations or when the organizations cannot compete anymore. That would be too late. One important thing is that we got to understand that being agile, we got to do it now. We don't wait until we are in the crisis situation. What Thai people have been practicing is that we could be agile when we are in a crisis situation. So for me, I want to invite a lot of the organizations to start being agile when there is no crisis. And we have to be able to understand that we cannot practice the same thing that we used to practice in the past. We got to look for new practices. We got to learn new practices, and we need to be open-minded.
Presently, the Thai government is introducing Thailand 4.0. So, but is this doesn't help at all, or is coming to the right place, to the right time to do it?
Okay. Thailand 4.0 is crucial for all of us to understand, and I think that Thailand 4.0 is trying to prepare all of us to be able to live in the disruptive world, in the digital world, but it's still not going to help you come up with the answer. How are you going to be able to come up with disruptive innovation? You know, even you understand Thailand 4.0 and you understand how it's going to happen, it doesn't mean that you are going to create a different process to innovate within your organization.
So how about the people to learn here? I mean, they have to learn, they have to come here to SEAC. Now we are talking about, we know the result. Just now we talk about what you call the doomsday of it if they don't start learning. So we learned that SEAC here has cooperated with Stanford University to learn or to programming, so focusing on it. How could you tell us some of these programs that if they like they can hear it in our 2-hour program or whatever, to stand up and quickly spring themselves?
Okay. Before I address about the programs that we are collaborating with Stanford, I just want to address few things first.
Okay.
I just want to make sure first that we want to ensure first that a lot of the organizations in Thailand have the right understanding about the world that they are living in now.
In that case, how do? They have to come up here.
So if they try to understand about what's different in the world that they are living now, we want to invite top executive to be able to go to Stanford first.
Okay.
Because for me, I don't really feel that I'm in the right press to be able to point out to a lot of the top executives here, to the business owners here, to let them know that, oh, you know what, world's changing. So basically, we really need to be able to get help from one of the top universities in the world, which is Stanford, to be able to show them how the world is changing and how it's going to impact them. So then we bring a lot of the senior executive, business owners, C-levels to go to Stanford to be able to understand what's going to happen in the disruptive world and how are they going to lead their organizations in the disruptive world. So basically, for that program, we really want to ensure first that all those senior leaders would have a clear picture of what disruptive world means, which I mentioned to you earlier on that disruptive worlds could come from many different aspects, come from the technology side of things and also come from the behavior change of the consumers, right? So basically, when they go over there, a lot of the professors, which is not just professor, it's a rock star professor, that they are trying to share their experiences, their knowledge, and also some of the world-class stories to all these leaders to be able to understand what it means to be able to lead their organizations in the disruptive world. So that's one part of the service that we are providing to the top executive. But at the same time, not every single one could be able to send their people to join a program at Stanford because not everyone
afford to do so.
Would be able to have that budget to bring everyone there. So we also have a smaller version to be able to do the briefing to all the companies here in Thailand in a much affordable price to let them understand how to lead in the disruptive world. So that's one part of the service that we are doing. But to address another point that it has nothing to do with disruptive world only, but it would link to how can they start a new innovation process within their organization, which is all about disruptive innovation process. This one, we also work with Stanford to bring the design thinking program to be conducted here in Thailand. So we also do it at this center, and also at the same time, we also provide it within the companies of our customers as well. So for this program, we are taking the customers to understand the process of disruptive innovation. For them to be able to understand the difference between the innovation that they used to do in the past and the disruptive innovation that they got to understand through the design thinking process of Stanford University.
You've been working so hard. I really wish you all the best of what you're undertaking because Thailand needs you to develop business. Well, with the great experience that Thailand having you here just to develop many things in the future to come. So I really wish you all the best and thank you so much for being here. ขอบคุณค่ะ So we are coming back and to the end of the first part of the program. Next we're going to meet Mr. James Engel. He will introduce us the State of Art Center, which is the perfect venue for learning and developing innovation businesses. So stay tuned. We'll be back. welcome back once again to our program. Now it's time to start our exploring of the facilities of unique meeting and learning experience with Mr. James Engel. He's the Chief Learning Architecture of SEAC. Follow me. สวัสดีค่ะ
Sawadee-ka. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Beautiful, and when enter into this building, it's like giving me some. We see the two. What do you call the two? What do you call construction? The black.
Mr. and Mrs. Plug. So it's about innovation and ideas, right?
Interesting.
Yeah.
The first time here, so good.
So the FYI Center is for your inspiration. So the whole building is designed around that, and that's why we decided to move in here. So
lovely.
So let's tell you about this facility and kind of what we're up to. So this is the ground level.
Ground level.
Okay, and this is the registration, and over here we have also the innovation hub. So
Colorful.
The whole space is focused on, you'll see as you walk through it, if you think about a person as a crumpled up piece of paper, and then if our goal is to, in Thailand and in ASEAN, is to kind of unfold them, because sometimes the education or things keep them so tight. So what we want to do is open them up and flatten out and let them see a much bigger world. So the whole theme of this thing is, as you move up in the center, you start to open up your perspective, you open up your innovation and your creativity so that you can help contribute more to Thailand and
Very
society.
interesting. And I can see the crumble of the paper.
Here's the folded
right
paper here, and as you go through that, you'll see much more of that as you go through that. So the whole center is designed for people to meet, collaborate, learn, and have fun. So, ready to go upstairs?
Very well.
Okay.
Let's go. Okay, let's go.
Okay.
So we're going to go up to the second floor.
Okay,
and what we see here on the left side here, some
Well, this
mathematics.
is kind of, if you look at this, this is kind of like DNA, right? It's kind of different patterns, and as you move up, we make things so complicated. And so the whole concept around innovation and design thinking and people learning is to keep things simple. So as you move up, as you can see, the pattern starts to get more simple. So as we move up in the center, we focus on simplifying and making things clear for people to learn and having a clear picture of themselves, where they want to go, how they can contribute. And so that's the whole purpose.
So this particular building is a place where we come to learn.
Yes.
Right?
We'll learn,
But together with
collaborate,
Stanford,
share, innovate, create, and have fun, as you said. So, so the landing lobby here.
Disruptive.
So you've got the 4 keywords all the way across the wall over here. Over there, very nice.
Please do.
So there's 4
Lovely.
words. Lead over here on the side over here. So there's actually lead, innovate, disrupt, and change.
Read all together, the continuous ready.
And when we talk about leadership, it's not talking about the big boss. It's talking about self-leadership. It's about me personally, whether I'm a big boss or I'm a worker, to being able to step up.
I did ask you about just now that this is a place, is a school like? Or what? It's a place where we can
It's
get
more than a
trained,
school. It's a community.
Community.
A community space, a learning space, a collaboration space.
But once want to study, how do they reach here? I mean, they have to get into contact for the first time to their management. They tell the part out for things, and wow, I have a lot of crumbled things in my heart.
Well, there's a lot of ways you can land here. Okay, companies can come and use our space to have their own meetings for innovation. We bring programs from Stanford or from Blanchard that are really about mind changing or design thinking. We host community events. Like next week, we're going to have a chamber event around Gadget Night to help educate executives on all the new gadgets. So people use this space or bring people here to learn stuff. So it can be things that we schedule, things that our partners and our friends want to have here, but it's all about learning and growing.
So nice. Such a pleasant
it is.
place of study, of learning.
It's a great place to show up every day and hang out.
Anything else that we can see around here?
Well, if you look around here, the lobby is the landing area. So this is the level called the Center for Innovation and Leadership. So we have 7 classrooms here on this level. We'll talk more about that. But a lot of our innovation leadership programs run on this level, and a lot of events for Gen Y. This level is very colorful. And so and we'll see in a minute. But you'll notice once again, there's the crumpled paper on the ceiling again. So as you can see, it's kind of opening up a little bit so people can see their own potential and see things a lot clearer. So. And even on the side here, you'll see down here where it's folded. So the whole idea is to unfold and unwrap. So the first 2 words that you saw over there were lead and innovate. And the next 2 words are, we have to really, the goal here is it's a nice space, but we want you to be uncomfortable. You can't, no great change happened when someone was comfortable.
So the one day of learning, what do they do?
What do they do?
In each day?
Well, today, over here on the sign, we've got outward mindset. So that talks about shifting my mindset about how you see the world better and more clear, so I can be a better, more focused worker and help you more. So we have a design thinking course. So how do I do prototyping of a product? We have courses. We have a strategic planning session going over here with another company. So they're trying to figure out their future. So any given day, there could be 7, 8, or 9 different types of learning, different types of programs or events going on at the same time.
The question or the problem posed from the company to you all, how to solve among the problem, is it to be concealed, to be kept secret?
It's up to them. Yeah, I mean, obviously, people come here and use the space to do strategic and confidential things, and if they are, then I can't talk about it. But a lot of things happen here, so.
Yeah, but sometimes they don't like it to be known, so it's to be kept confidentially.
Yep. And that's true. So they get in their room, and sometimes they rent the space from us. We don't even know what's going on in there, because if they want confidential space, it's all theirs. So
they can sit here for discussion.
They can come here for discussion.
So this is the area where the ample space here to be kept for people who can come and consult, or sit down to talk about.
So we've got 12 large classroom spaces. We've got 14 breakout meeting spaces. We've got 12 techno booths. We've got 3 or 4 eating and breakout areas. So it's all designed. How do you want to meet and how do you want to do it?
Are we going to go inside?
We're going to go down, take a walk around.
Come on, please have a look. Standing here, you can have
smell the food.
Smell of coffee.
Coffee and food. Okay.
What is that actually?
So this is the market. Okay. So this we call this the Gen Y room, and when we were designing it, we wanted to have a really fun and interesting space that people could come in and collaborate, roll a TV up, work on stuff, have dinner. We've had wine tastings here, disruptive wine tastings.
Wow.
We've had lots of different educational events. We run learning in here. So this is also the lunch break. So this is kind of a multi-purpose room designed to come in. We have our own outdoor patio as well, so people can sit outside. But the focus of this room is really holds up to 130 people for whatever we need it for. And so sometimes companies just rent it to do work in, or it's a
outsider can also rent the place.
Yes, you can. You can rent the place if you want to come and use it, or for you even a special deal.
Oh, of course.
But so this is allows us to really get people together, and the goal was to make it bright, colorful, not so serious. He wanted people to pop their minds.
People are serious in their business.
And even here you've got, once again, down there we also have a board game, so people can come in here and it's like a board game cafe as well.
Interesting. What are we going to see up there? So what I'm going to see up there?
So coming up the fourth floor, this is the executive education level. You're going to know a little bit of a different feel here, because sometimes Thai executives still like to be treated well and look nice. So you'll see a much different feel. But you'll see, as you see below, you had the cutouts over there, but now you can see through it.
Look at that.
So you've opened yourself up completely, so you can see through this. So this is designed for executives to come in here. We've got a lounge over here, concierge desk, and there's showers along that. The ceiling here is interesting. So those are all the cut patterns, and you can see this is changing. So we patterned this after the digital waterfall at Stanford. We said they got a digital waterfall in their graduate school business. We have to have our own color waterfall lights. So the designers came up with this, so we can change the color and the pattern. So it just kind of adds another little, you look at it and it changes. It's always changing. So,
yes.
So obviously we have the ASEAN Cafe up here, which is more of executive dining experience. So people can have wine or an event up here that's a little bit more sophisticated and higher end. But also for executive education, you've got to have an amphitheater so that the professors can beam in from around the world and they can see this. So this is the ASEAN Amphitheater. So this is designed to have more formal learning events, but also to simultaneously broadcast. So a professor from Stanford or from around the world in here. so you can have 3 screens going, simultaneous translation.
overseas?
Overseas, yeah.
Can
Beam right in here, and then do simultaneous translation at the same time. And even in here, you've got the pattern. The fun part here, this is really interesting, that when we designed this, we said these are really nice and expensive, but you look inside and you got, originally it wasn't designed to have whiteboards.
Look at that. We normally have a rolling,
Yeah, you have to roll that in. So,
that's boring.
And that wasn't even part of the original design, but when we opened these up, how you change the light bulbs, they said, can we put a whiteboard in there? So you just try to figure that out.
Really?
And then when this is not used, we've got beanbag chairs up there. So this is a Zen room, so people can come in here and just sit and work very quietly and see Mr. and Mrs. Plug out there and be able to get work done in a number of different ways. Right?
Interesting. Here I could see, what do you call, currencies.
Yes.
Each one.
Okay.
Tell us
So
about this.
this is the currency exchange, right? You got to go to the currency exchange. So in this area, we've got all the rooms, the breakout rooms, 10 breakout rooms named after all the currencies in ASEAN. All of our meeting rooms are named after the capitals, but we figure you have to make money by doing learning things here. So you come to the currency room, currency exchange to create ideas and map out your work and go out and do great things. So that's what this whole area is about.
So that means that in each room there'll be some of the students or work learning who come to the learning center here, so you can push in and they can learn.
Yeah, breakout work.
And to remember also, easily to remember. Which room? Dollars.
Dollar, yeah. So, and there's also a karaoke room there, but we won't get into that today.
Better not.
All right.
Okay, let's go on then. Tell us about this lovely atmosphere, friendly atmosphere room here. What is this? It is a
Well, this is not a banquet room. This is a learning room. So when we designed this, we talked to a lot of trainers, facilitators, and learners about what would the space be like. And so you want to make it simple. You'll notice the tables are in a triangle space, but none of the tables here are round or square.
What does it mean?
They're all a trapezoid, so you can turn these tables into 17 different shapes.
It is.
So whatever you need, you can do triangles, squares, hexagons. The chairs are comfortable, rollers, you can flip it up, the thing. So we want to be able to have the technology, obviously multiple screens, colored whiteboards, whatever you need to be able to learn. So people can roll things and set things up. They can change the room configuration. I don't need this now, let's switch it. And in the center, we don't have a lot of rules. You need whatever equipment you need, and so to learn, we don't charge extra for it. We just said, come on in and use the space and learn and grow. We only ask that you come here and learn, and you come here and innovate, you come here and create something
But
new.
they pay once, but maybe once, and it can be for a period of time.
Now the fun thing is, along with this cool learning space, movable walls, all this stuff, we have to talk about what's coming next. So over here is coming in February is the garage. It's just downstairs, and that's our real innovation space downstairs. So that's going to be concrete floors, plugs coming down from the city, everything rolling, so people can come and do real design thinking and real prototyping of products. So we'll open that up in February for 5 more classrooms. That'll be more of a really rustic.
People come to learn about building garage here?
Well, no, it's called the garage.
Oh, called the garage, okay.
It's called the garage, and it looks like a garage.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
But it's a garage where you go in and you build stuff. So we'll actually have a real innovation design thinking lab where people can go down and move tables and not worry about breaking stuff. Just have fun design, prototype, build stuff, and hopefully change the face of Thailand and ASEAN for the rest of the century. So that's the goal.
Very interesting, really. Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And everything. We are end up our program with thanks to Mr. James Engel, the Chief Learning Architect of SEAC. Thank you so much for
Thank you so much. It was great to have you here.
Have a great day, and thanks for watching Thailand Today. Hope you see you again. สวัสดีค่ะ
Sawadee ka.